So we're at it again. We're going to be making a sword today. But I'm not a blacksmith, and I don't have a forge. I don't even have any metal lying around that I'm aware of. So we're going to make one out of wood. And I'll show you what we're going to be doing. I got this from stormthecastle.com. I think it's like a prop making website. But they got a lot of cool stuff in there. That's where I happen to get this. It's the Excalibur sword, but I'm going to do a little bit of a modification. So a lot of the stuff on there that I found, you could print out a PDF, and it's going to be a template that you can lay down on your material. In this case, it's actually supposed to be made out of foam, but I'm going to use a 2x4. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut out the template and then place it on whatever medium you're going to use. And in this case, here's the 2x4. This is what the template. And it should look something like this shape when I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and trace it on there and go from there. Alright, so I went ahead and traced the template onto the wood here. And at this point, I'm going to say it's very important that when you cut the template out, that you're very careful as far as making sure all your lines are straight, your cuts are straight, and because otherwise you're going to get some deviation in the actual overall shape. And then when you put your template on whatever you're going to use, make sure you try to get it as centered as possible if you're using something this thin. Otherwise, I mean, if you're using a board this big and you only need that much room, then it's not really going to matter much. But I'm just trying to make it out of a 2x4. So let me get this cut out and we'll go from there. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm creating relief cuts. That way when I'm coming in here, they'll come off in little smaller pieces instead of this one big piece coming off. And it's just a way of removing material to help me anyways to be able to maneuver this around here on my Rockwell. Which I don't really think it was designed to be scrolling a 2x4, but well, as you can see, it works. And I'll be doing that through the course of the rest of this blade as well. So let me... as you can see, I notched this all the way out. Kind of got the tip cut out, but I got the handle, and you know, this is going to be my guard right here, this little piece. But you know, it's going to be a pretty good size handle here, and obviously I'm going to have to slim it down and trim it up and make it feel comfortable in hand. But yeah, I just wanted to take a minute and show you that part of it, show you the progression. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the blade now. So I got it roughly cut out. I'm going to start using this belt sander here. If it looks familiar, that's because it's the same one and I hadn't moved it. Going to get all this cleaned up, and we're going to start really shaping this down to the profile that we really want it. So as you can see here, it's pretty rough. I already kind of hit it just a little bit around the pommel here, and so you can see that's pretty smooth. But again, not finished with it yet. We're still going to work on it, and so let me get to it. I was going to be sanding this, and getting all these marks and stuff out here, and I did start it. You know, I started getting the pommel down and everything, but then I was like, there's a lot of wood to be sanding. So there's a magical property about wood. If you know what you're doing, you can go and make two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sand these down, and obviously try to make them as even as I can and shape them. And so let me get to that, and I'll show you the result of it. And I got these all shaped and sanded. I only went up to about 220. It's smooth enough for what these are going to be used for. More or less hitting each other with them. And then eventually just hanging up in the wall or just somewhere else. But so on this one, as you can see, there's two edges here. Okay, all these edges are rounded, so it's not going to hurt anybody as far as cutting them. You can, however, get these things to where they are sharp enough to cut, maybe once or twice, but that's not really the purpose or the design of these. These are more like practice with. And then for this other one, I went ahead and only made one edge, and then a real rigid and kind of a thicker backbone on this. But the handle, the guard are all the same on both sides. And now all I'm going to have to do is figure out, actually I'm probably just going to stain these because I like the look of the wood. And if you look on here, you can see this. I got a knot there, and I got a knot there. But when I stain these, it's going to darken up and really show through. So that should look really nice. And then again, same thing on this one. It also has that big knot right there. But you can see all this grain here in the wood. And all that's really, really going to pop once it gets stained. So let me get these stained, and you'll see the results. Stained, and I'm actually using some fishing wire. I don't know if you can see that. Fishing line. 30-pound test, and they look absolutely great. And that's my daughter right there, and she just is going to figure out that this is going to be on YouTube later with that face and everything. So She normally runs the camera here, but here's another side of it. This one's just an oak gloss, and this one over here is a burgundy, but this particular one is used with a gel stain, all by Minwax, and so you have to use a wood conditioner first. Then I hit it with some clear gloss polyurethane, but as you can see, this one actually fell, and I went to grab it, and I was still having the same gloves on as with the other ones. Now, some other projects is my youngest right there made this one. I went ahead and cut it out. She wanted to paint it a bright orange. Another one that we got this one right here. This was also not my design, but it was designed by James Cotton, and so he's currently sanding the shit out of it. And then my oldest, we haven't been able to cut this out yet because it's getting kind of late, but just looked at a picture and decided to do that. So that knot's going to look really nice in there once we get this cut out. Result, they were still drying a little bit, but I wanted to show you how these things came out in the sun. That came out so beautiful out here in the sun. And so what I'm going to end up doing is I'm probably just going to wrap this with some paracord and call it a day. And then here's how the other one came out. Again, this one was the oak finish, the oak stain with a gloss polyurethane spray on it. This one was a burgundy, but it was the gel stain, so you have to use a wood conditioner prior to putting the stain on there, so it's more of a process, but again, the results came out just absolutely beautiful. Now, thing is you know, if your swords break or you get it taken away, you got to have a backup plan, and you got to be really, really flashy with it. So we decided to paint this one neon orange. And no, none of these will cut. Till next time, have a good one. So that's the end result. Got a navy blue paracord on this one and a bright orange one on this one. So there it is.